Shout out to De La Soul. They have a new album, Cabin in the Sky, which is dedicated to the former member Dave, who died a couple years ago from congestive heart failure. It was something that he's been struggling with for years. If you're a Gen Xer and you haven't been to the doctor lately or had a physical, go get a physical. Go get some blood work. Go get your heart checked out. Please do, because we want you guys and gals to be here watching my videos. But I love De La Soul. I'm glad they have this new album out. It's on the Mass Appeal label, Nas's Mass Appeal label. Listen, we all love Jay-Z, but there's nobody who's doing more for the culture than Nasir Jones. He has an album coming out, a collabo album with DJ Premier. That whole Mass Appeal label is like a classic hip-hop label. They got classic hip-hop documentaries. I love the whole Mass Appeal brand. But back to De La. I don't know where I would be without De La Soul in my life. When I start thinking about the hip-hop acts who influenced me the most, it's a bunch. I mean, I love hip-hop overall, but as far as those who kind of shaped me, Houdini, / Run DMC, but Houdini, Public Enemy, absolutely, just from learning about Black history. Tribe Called Quest, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, because when I look at Will and Jeff, especially back then, it's like, oh yeah, I can hang out with those dudes. Will's talk about the stuff that I kind of go through. And most importantly, De La Soul. Where Will and Jeff, I looked at them like, oh, okay, like they're kind of like me. De La Soul, even more so, because De La said, it's okay to be quirky. It's okay, Kev, to like Michael Jackson and Prince, but also John Denver, the Beatles, and Led Zeppelin. It's okay to love like a TV show Martin and an old school show like Laugh-In. It's okay to be quirky, Kev. And when you're a teenager and you don't feel like you fit in, because I never felt like I fit in. I had friends, I just didn't feel like I fit in. It's kind of hard because you're in conversations and you're like, oh, did you see that one episode of SCTV? And they look at you like, what's that? So, but De La, when they first popped up, especially you watch that Me, Myself, and I video, they were in a classroom where they didn't fit in. Like they didn't have a Kango hat like LL. They didn't have that hip hop pose like Run DMC. They weren't wearing the tracksuits. They didn't have gold like Slick. They didn't have that gold like Slick Rick and Big Daddy Kane. Like De La Soul was totally different from everybody else. And that's why that video, even though it came out in 89, it still stands up. Even their hair, if you look at their hairstyles, like Dave's hair was in twists. Like they were just ahead of their time so much. So yeah, I have a great affinity for De La Soul. From the very beginning, before Me, Myself, and I, the first time I heard De La Soul, there was a mixed show on 93 FM and WZAK in Cleveland. And it was late night. And I heard this song called Plug Tunin. Now, if you heard the song, you know it sounds like a computer. It's like it's in outer space. And it used like it sounded like Little Richard saxophones. He go dum, dum, dum. And it's like, I was like, what is this? Plug one, plug two. Plug one, plug two. I was like, they didn't sound like anybody. And then they followed it up with their first video, Potholes on My Lawn. And it's like, what does that even mean? And it's just in the music. If you go back to De La Soul during that time period, they sounded like nobody. And their producer was Prince Paul. And Prince Paul came from Stetsasonic. There's nothing Stetsasonic sounding with De La Soul. And De La Soul were my age. So they were my age making this advanced, interesting music. And it's amazing. And the funny thing about Me, Myself, and I, because they were Pasta News and Maceo were on Sway in the Morning, and Pasta News said him and Dave didn't want to do Me, Myself, and I. Mace wanted to do it. Maceo wanted to do it. I think Prince Paul wanted to do it, but Maceo wanted to do it because he loved Knee Deep by Parliament, and he said, "Man, if we do this, it's a hit." But Dave and Pasta didn't want to do it. They decided to do it, and they just wrote like crappy lyrics. They just said, you know what? We're just gonna write some lyrics. This ain't gonna be nothing. And that song became the biggest song of their career. But it happens a lot that way. Super Freak by Rick James. That was a throwaway song that Rick really didn't care about. Push It by Salt and Pepper. That was a throwaway song they did for fun. Johnny Gill was saying how like Boyz II Men off Any Heartbreak. He sang the song, but he didn't think it was that special. He's like, oh, that's all right song. He just sang it. It became one of their signature songs. So a lot of times, I think Boyz II Men did the same. I think End of the Road. I don't think they felt like End of the Road was going to do anything. So a lot of times, sometimes your biggest songs are songs you feel like, it's all right. But that was me, myself, and I. And then we get to the second album, De La Soul is Dead. So the media branded De La Soul because they had the Daisy Age. And they branded them as these rapper hippies. And that it wasn't them. But the media kept on branding, oh, they're hippie rappers. Oh, De La Soul. So that De La Soul, when you watch De La Soul is Dead, when you see the video for Ring Ring, Hey, 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 that pot falls to the ground with the daisy in it. And they basically killed off the whole De La Soul persona. But I love De La Soul, man. I love him so much because I was thinking, when you start thinking about like the greatest songs they ever made, most people go with Me, Myself, and I. And that's like, and then they start, it's like, oh, what else do they have? And that's the thing. They don't get played like Outkast or Wu-Tang or Tribe Called Quest. We don't hear De La Soul songs. But if I say like Buddy, the Buddy remix, Oodles of O's, Breakadawn, Roller Skating Jam, Ego Tripping, Say No Go, Feel Good Inc. with the Gorillas, Potholes, 3 is the Magic Number. They have so many songs and so many really good videos. But they was never about, not to say that Outkast and Tribe were all about marketing, because they weren't. But they was kind of good at putting artistic stuff together and kind of making it audience friendly at times. And De La was kind of like, we do that too, but we're just doing it we just want to make good music. If it happens to hit, great. If it doesn't hit, great. We're not in it for popularity or marketing or legacy. We just want to make great music. And the one thing I always appreciated about De La Soul is they never followed trends. 3 Feet High and Rising came out in 1989. That was in the midst of the New Jack Swing era. So they could have made songs like Kwame or Guy, Big Daddy Kane. Like even like Kane, he made I Get the Job Done with Teddy Riley, and Heavy D worked with Teddy Riley. So De La Soul never went that direction. If you listen to all of their albums, there was not a New Jack Swing type song on there. Even if we get to them in the early 90s, when Tribe Called Quest moved past them from being little brothers to just becoming this thing, De La didn't all of a sudden start doing jazzy type music. They didn't. Or they didn't do, because Dre and Snoop was hitting, they didn't do West Coast stuff. Like Run DMC was great. They had Rockbox, King of Rock, Walked This Way, and Run's House, and then they switched. They did Pause, the New Jack Swing track. And it was fine, but it wasn't them. Even Down With the King. Down With the King is one of the greatest Run DMC songs ever. But when you listen to it, it's a Pete Rock song. So Pete Rock and CL Smooth could have done that song themselves. But Run DMC did it. It was a classic, but it's not the Run DMC sound. It's not King of Rock or Rockbox. But De La never did that. They never followed trends. And then so financially, they took a hit. Because I'm sure Tommy Boy back then would say, hey, man, if you do this New Jack Swing song, or if you kind of do a song that kind of sound like Tribe, and it's like, no, like we're making songs that feels good to us. And it kind of sticks to this whole thing about them being quirky and them being themselves. And that's why I love De La Soul so much. So you tell me, what is your top 3 to 5 favorite De La Soul songs? And if you have to Google them, that's fine. If you need to go on YouTube, that's fine. Because they're not one of those acts where, unless you're a deep fan, it's not their songs are not gonna go. They're not gonna pop at the top of your head. But once you hear the song and see the video, it's like, yeah, that roller skating jam, roller skating. Because they have that break in there that sounds like the Doors. Oh my God! And then Breakadawn. That's the Michael Jackson sample. Breakadawn, Breakadawn. And okay, I'll end this by talking about one of the greatest videos ever, the Buddy video. Now, a lot of people say the greatest posse video ever in hip hop is Scenario with Tribe Called Quest and Leaders in the New School. And I can't disagree with that. Heavy D got Don't Curse. If you don't know Don't Curse by Heavy D, had Grand Poobah on it. I think Kane's on it. Big Daddy Kane might have been on it, but I knew Grand Poobah was on it. Don't Curse was great. The Symphony by Marley Marl with the Juice Crew, that was great. But Buddy, the Buddy remix with De La Soul, the Jungle Brothers, shout to the JBs, Moni Love, Queen Latifah, and A Tribe Called Quest. To me, even though I love Scenario, that song to me is the greatest posse cut ever. And it's long too. It's a long song, but man, all that talent on one record, brilliance. So you tell me, what is your favorite posse cut of all time? And what is your favorite De La Soul song of all time? I'll add one more thing. I was saying in the beginning of the video how Jazzy and the Fresh Prince was a great effect on me and De La Soul. And I can't imagine hip-hop without either one of those acts. Because if we're talking about groups, let's say you still had Public Enemy and NWA and 2 Live Crew, but there wasn't a De La or Will and Jeff to be like, hey, you could just be a quirky guy or kind of like just a regular dude who can rap. You weren't wearing Kangos, even though I love Public Enemy, you're not talking about Malcolm X, you're not NWA, you don't have gangster in you, like you're just some regular guy. I don't know where hip hop would be. I don't know if we get the Fugees. I don't know if we get Tribe Called Quest. I don't know if we get Outkast. I don't know if we get the Neptunes, because the Neptunes chatting forever was just regular dudes. Like, I don't know if we just got regular guys who wasn't Kango. And I love LL. I love the Kango and all that stuff. But if you weren't as cool as LL and wearing Kangos, you wasn't cool like Run DMC, or you wasn't gangster like NWA, or you knew about black culture, but you weren't like Public Enemy or KRS-One. If you're just like quirky and regular like De La and Will and Jeff, who do you gravitate to? So yeah, a lot of these groups, man, they owe a lot to De La Soul, and I hope one day De La Soul makes the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They might be one of those acts where they might have to wait a few more years. But I'm telling you, once you go down the rabbit hole of their hit songs, they're very deserving.